Very interesting what's going on in Maine. 13 Maine Republicans have decided to leave the Republican Party. They cited a really long list of problems. And this was in a letter that was obtained by the Bangor Daily News. And they single out the Republican National Committee, congressional Republicans, Maine Republican legislators, and Governor Paul LePage's administration as factors in their decision to leave the Republican Party. And they said, we can no longer associate ourselves with a political party that goes out of its way to continually restrict our freedoms and liberties, as well as reaching deeper and deeper into our wallets. So a lot of progressives are loving this, the fact that 13 Republicans are leaving the Republican Party. But if you look at some of the, reaching further and further into our wallets, these are not progressives. In other words, they're not leaving the Republican Party flat out because the Republican Party has become too extreme. In fact, some of the reasons are that the Republican Party seems to be raising taxes, something traditionally associated with Democrats, even though, as we know, Ronald Reagan raised taxes many, many times, and many Republicans have. So what's your assessment of this, Lewis? It's not really a progressivization of the Republican Party, but is it good on a factual basis for progressives that the Republican Party seems to be really fractured?
I think so. It's clearly just more of a sign that things are falling apart, and there are many reasons, and for whatever reasons, this is just going to make things harder for the Republican Party going forward.
Well, as we talked about on the show a number of times, I've kind of identified, and I think other people agree generally, that there's kind of three groups in the Republican Party right now. You've got the pro-business, low-tax side, which is not particularly concerned with freedom and liberty more broadly the way libertarians are. They're not so concerned with social conservatism. Then you've got the Tea Party freedom crowd, which has any number of different issues which they focus on as time passes, but they are kind of in that Tea Party liberty, freedom mold. And then you've got the religious conservatives, which are less focused on things like guns and low taxes, but are more focused on social issues like abortion and gay marriage and all the type of stuff that the government should have absolutely no role in. Sometimes swearing on television is also a big one for religious conservatives. And these groups are now starting to fight amongst themselves more and more. The Democratic Party, remember, is only slightly less corrupt than the Republican Party. It's slightly less bought and sold by special and corporate interests. So I think to the extent that the Republican Party's conflict will allow more progressive values to come in, it's good. However, it's not really going to help, at least in the near term, this, two-party, corporate-owned and bought and sold political system. But to the extent that it helps progressive values, I guess it's good, Lewis.
Yeah, you're making some good points there. But also, just from the, in Maine, this could kind of have a bad effect because when you have some of these maybe more level-headed Republicans leaving, who knows what types of kooks are going to replace these people and maybe do some serious damage to families in Maine.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lewis, that if someone leaves the Republican Party because they find the Republican Party to be a little too outrageous for them, not necessarily what's happening here, but to some extent it is, you run the risk of someone even more outrageous being voted in and filling that slot. And that's the other side to look at it. Maybe it wouldn't lead to progressivization, but we're going to keep following it. We've been talking about the fracturing of the GOP for a long time. And of course, we talk about those types of issues and more and go into a lot of depth on the bonus show, which is hosted and produced by producer Louis Motamedi from the Austin Bureau of the David Pakman Show. How do you get the bonus show, as well as tons of other membership benefits? Very easy, davidpakman.com/membership. You can sign up in less than a minute, and you will be part of the media solution. Let's fix media, Lewis, by supporting independent media rather than continuing to fuel that corporate, homogenous media blob that you don't even really have to watch. You know what to expect. davidpakman.com/membership. Back after this.